Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you must go and I must ride. But come ye back when summer's in the bed. Oh, when the valley's hushed and white with snow, I'll be here in sunshine and in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But if you come when all the flowers are dying, and I am dead, I will maybe you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an ave there for me, and I shall know no stop you tread above me. And then my grave will richer, sweeter be, and you'll bend down and tell me that you'll love me, and I will rest in peace until you come. Hey!
You're a musician, I take it then.
Not exactly, as you can probably tell by that. But I double. I'm going to obviously write my musical version of my multi-award-winning comedy screenplays, which won, for instance, the Cannes Film Festival screenwriting competition, and about 15 other screenwriting competitions outright. I'm going to do a musical version of all of them on the Logic Pro software, which I've been given access to via a homeless charity over at Homelessness Hospital called, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a wonderful, wonderful idea that you give homeless people access to software, use their creative skills to come up with true genius. And so Andrew Lloyd Webber, as he said, don't knock me, go out and do something better. Yay!
Yeah, good.
Good to see you.
I know him. That's a good man. I like him. Yeah, it's good man.
And I'm going out there and I'm doing something better. So I say to all of you out there in social media land, come and give your support to me by giving some traction to one of these wonderful, wonderful award-winning screenplays which a homeless bum like myself has managed to come out with, and we can do the whole thing together.
So have you published stuff then?
Oh, it's won all the awards. Some of it did get published as a result of winning the awards. Nowadays, sometimes some of the screenwriting competitions actually publish the screenplays at the end of the awards. But the ones which have been published are, to a degree, earlier versions of what I've now got. So if anybody's interested in reading one of these things, I'd recommend going via your good self or my good self to gain access to the absolute latest version, because I do corrections and revisions on these things all the time. And the ones that have gone into print are not as good as the versions which I've now got. But I get plagiarized all the time. I mean, I know it sounds a bit daft, but that movie, Jane Austen Emma,
Yeah.
I won the Colorado International Screenwriting Competition in 2018 with a screenplay called Jane Austen Emma, and within a year you've got this blockbuster movie called Jane Austen Emma. Not that there hadn't been a version of Jane Austen's Emma out there previously in the 1990s, but the version which went out last year or earlier this year turned out to be a direct copy of what I'd written, which was completely different to the one that went out in 1990s.
Okay.
So, but there's been a couple of plagiarism incidents with me.
So it's copyright then, basically.
Well, it is. The trouble is, all you have to do is change it a little bit.
Yes, of course.
And then it's very difficult to prove
anything,
particularly with something like Jane Austen.
Yeah.
You know, where you're actually calling on the original Jane Austen work.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to be almost impossible to say that
That's mine.
been, yes.
Good.
But I mean, I had one of mine, which I wrote, my first work, Maid of Honor, bears a very, very distinct similarity to the first screenplay I wrote. Maid of Honor being a huge hit about 10 years ago. Spelt M-A-D-E of honor. Whereas, but it's a play on words because it's all about a maid of honor in the American sense, which means a bridesmaid.
Yes.
And but it bore very, very strong similarity to my screenplay called My Sister's Wedding, which when I watched it, wait a moment. That rings some distinct bells, you know, because there were so many common elements between what I'd written and what was in Maid of Honor. But it's not identical, and therefore totally impossible to prove that it was plagiarized. But I'd sent that screenplay off to so many competitions and so many literary agents that it had been read by thousands of people. We don't know who's the one who went and
what's your best one? What would you consider your best writing?
My best one? You know, the one that's won the most competitions, which therefore I'm going to say is my best one, is one called Gold Diggers, which starts off with a movie within a movie. So it starts off on the set of well, to begin with, you think you're watching the actual movie, but then you back out and cut. It's a movie within a movie, and you're watching a gold mine being robbed by literal gold diggers who are, well, no, sorry, the gold diggers are being robbed by. So yeah, there's a bit of an involution to begin with, and then it turns out that the main movie is not about that at all, but the star of that movie falls victim to a gold digger, so to speak, a woman who wants to go after him for all of his worldly goods and succeeds spectacularly. But in my version of things, it has a happy ending. I'm not going to be a spoiler alert and tell you what happens at the end of it. Suffice it to say, at the end of the movie, we're empowered that this very, very decent chap, like myself, is going to be rescued from a place where I am at the moment, sitting
How long
on the
are you
street.
on the streets?
I've been on the street since last March, so it's about a year and a half now.
That's a long time.
And it's difficult, but there's great, you know, you meet great people like yourself. It's all that social contact which makes it.
Of course it does.
Makes it worthwhile.
It helps, of course.
Oh,
But I mean, where are you going to sleep tonight then?
Well, you know, if I get a few pennies together, you know, I I might be able to get into a hostel. You know that.
A lot of people don't like sleeping hostels.
A lot, yeah. I'm just bumping into this chap. He was here about half an hour ago, and he prefers to sleep on the street.
Yeah, a lot of people I know knew back in the years they wouldn't sleep in a hostel, but prefer to sleep in the park or something, you know, which is terrible.
I mean, one instance, speaking to a chap the other day, he had a place in the hostel, so he'd actually gone into the hostel, but it was alien to him, and it's a bit like, is it Stockholm Syndrome, where somebody gets kidnapped and then falls in love with the kidnappers. It's a similar type of thing that, to begin with, you don't want to be sleeping on the street, but then the intensity of sleeping on the street provides a certain gritty reality that is difficult to be matched by sleeping in a hospital.
The people I knew that didn't like the hostels because of some of the serious violence that was in.
Well, so that is you as well.
Yeah.
I mean, when the first time I went into a hostel, I got robbed of everything I had within a few days of going into the hostel, and then I got buddied up with somebody who got me onto heroin and crack cocaine.
That's all you need, isn't it?
And yeah.
That's what you need, definitely. That's what's going to help you out, isn't it?
And then, of course, after he rinsed me of all the money I had, he turned out not to be my friend at all.
Of course.
It gets that complicated. I mean, now I tend to keep myself to myself.
It's the best way. If you go in a hostel, you got to look after yourself, man. As they say, sleep with one eye open, but how long can you do that for? You know, that's scary. Anyway, finish with a nice song from me.
Oh, another
yes,
one.
Please.
What have we got here? From the Johnny
You never
Cash
gave us your first name anyway.
Ian.
John.
Ian Burns.
Ian Burns.
Ian T. Burns, and the screenwriting is what I've called myself. So, when you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I shall dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled waters. I will lay me down when you're down and out, when you're on these streets, when the evening falls so hard, I shall comfort you, I'll take your part, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down, like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down, sail on silver gull, sail on by, your time has come to shine, all your dreams are on their way, see how they shine, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled waters, I will ease your mind mind. Yay! Very good.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you very much.